Hello everybody, welcome back. We are going towards what could be our final game of the night, but nothing's guaranteed here. Tricked have the 1-0 advantage over Fnatic Rising, but Nymera, anything is possible.
Yes, and that's why we saw so many crazy back and forths the entire day. Was in our first series as well. Come into the first game thinking, oh yeah, okay, cool. Everyone's reading off the same script today. Glad that we managed to get that one out to all of the orgs. Going straight into pick and ban, and that Syndra is once again removed.
They just want to play against it, apparently.
Yep.
I don't want to play against it either. Get rid. It's very, very strong. It's very flexible. Killed me with ultimates on plenty of occasions.
Press R, yeah.
That's really about it. But the Zinzao also taken off the table. Now, keep your eyes peeled for a couple of the champions that did exceptionally well last game. The Aphelios is something that springs to mind because it's being played a lot, but no one seems really to care about banning it.
I mean, that's the deal with Aphelios right now is you can run Immortal Shield Bow plus Collector and be quite safe and quite tanky. Even if you don't have that much support. In that game, they had the Tom Kent, right? So it is even safe. It was safe, even if, sometimes it hasn't.
And I think the thing for me is that it wasn't just the Tom Kench. The thing which really changed that game for me around the Aphelios was that Paulson had just such a kind of yes, you in the Orianna Ryze matchup, you kind of freely scale up, but the Ryze also does there as well. But the Orianna's impact on the team fights isn't just in a solo way. We kind of talked about the departure from one game of Seraphine, which is playing completely for the team, the Ryze where you kind of play for yourself, unless you roll more everyone into the base to sadly not quite finish out the game. Is that Orianna just enables the Aphelios so much because it just diversifies the threats that you have to keep your eyes on. It could have been so many different things, but the Orianna has been probably the most famous of that throughout League of Legends history.
And we're just seeing what will be banned away. Nothing's been targeted too much, and there's the Jace, of course, mentioned a little bit as well. It's a very good pick. Pride loves this champion, so taking that away from him is definitely a good one. And that's a strange B1 pick.
So Trundle's been floating and rearing his head a little bit more recently. A couple people were thinking he's actually very strong in support, I know. Jungle's been around, has been one or two top lane picks with things like Ignite occasionally.
And
so
Thunder as well.
This is exactly Divine Storm is really strong on him. You'd steal attack speed. Like some of those early skirmishes a bit stronger than you think. And it also, if you are expecting some of those frontline options, it is a good way to take out some of the tankiness. So
all I can think
on the rise again.
All I can think of there is when you're saying, oh, it steals attack damage. You know that thing is like, you wouldn't steal a car. You wouldn't steal attack damage. Well, he certainly is, and he's going to do it to the Lee Sin if he ends up in lane against that too. Trundle being picked in without knowing their lane opponent, it surprises me a little.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, there was a great video which someone released like in the last month or two of Trundle's level 1 matchups. He just beats everyone. His level 1 matchups just allows you to walk into lane and just dump on people. Even someone like the Tom Kench, if you shock that in top lane, you're not happy about that at all. And it has the flexibility alongside it too. Maybe this is just reading what Trick played in the last game and saying, yeah, we're happy with that.
All the Aphelios Fresh is going to be the response. They're really, really strong bot lane. They want that win condition rather than giving it over to Dempox Day, which makes a lot of sense. It's going to be a case of what Trick want to pick up here, if they go for that bot lane pickup or if they want to go for one of those solo lanes, because Gwen and Viego are still both available, could easily be banned away in the next rotation. We'll have to see exactly where their minds are at, but I'm excited to see this Trundle get picked up and Trick. What we got then, it's going to be the Ezreal, so a little bit less exciting.
So they're not going to the Jinx.
I would have loved to see the Jinx there. Would have been my favorite option. I think it would have been another hyper carry. Tom Kench keeps him safe, but the Ezreal Tom Kench has been a lane for ages. You both press Q at the same time. You'd be quite obnoxious. Like, definitely has some options, and he can play a bit defensive, but suggests to me maybe Trick wanting to play a little bit not towards bot side this time.
But Jinx into Trundle Pillar is just awful. Just awful.
I mean, you've got Tom Kench to keep you alive, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, post level 6.
Post level 6.
I mean, if it's going to be a Trundle jungle, then you can come down.
Yeah.
And as you were saying earlier in the day, yes, Jinx does really well into the Aphelios at level 9. You outscale, you outrange it to a certain extent. But if you don't get to that level 9 mark without, and you've died a couple of times by that point already, and Aphelios starts getting a lot of plate gold, he has to push in, then Aphelios has to roll around the map to keep taking more plates and just exacerbates that lead, particularly with the Thresh as well as their choice lane partner.
Well, we're moving into our second round of bans. Seraphine and LeBlanc taken off the table. LeBlanc still appearing, but not appearing in-game. But of course, Seraphine is a very, very strong supportive pickup. When you've got this Aphelios for damage, keeping your marksman alive is always going to be really, really nice. No Orianna option for, interestingly, Paulson was the one who played the last game. That's been taken off the table, which shows he wants to
enables
do
the Aphelios
different. Yeah.
Much like in the draft in the last game. I mean, I think it has been one of the better complementary pieces today to enable your hyper carry to actually have some secondary threat and have a second or two to free fire across some extra damage, finish some people off.
I just went hunting there a second for some of Denvox's stats on the Ezreal because it is his most played this split. And like I said, he had the best DPM in the league at 701. His Ezreal's another 50-odd DPM on top of that. Like he's like near enough 750 DPM on the champion over.
What a champion!
Games. Like he has done. I think he did 35% of his team's damage normally. On Ezreal. Like it's kind of nuts. This
at that point, like Taxa can just log off. He can just go.
So, you know, DV certainly got his eye in on the champion at least. But, you know, I am liking what Fnatic have done with the first three. It's a good bot side. The Trundle, assuming jungle's still good options. And honestly, into Ryze as well. Like, Ryze close range, it's really easy to get the pillar behind him. So, Twisted Fate here as well. You can match the Realm Warps. I mean, I'm liking this already for a way to kind of potentially play around bot side for Fnatic Rising.
Now they're going to have to choose what they want, top/jungle, depending on where that Trundle ends up going. It's Mundo, which you'd expect to go into that top lane in the hands of Pride once again, because Mundo jungle is not amazing. I'm just going to go out on that hill and say that. But it's going to be Madly's pick finally, and the Wukong's available once again, so it could just be a run back.
Could be. So, I mean, one thing about the potential of this being the Ezreal Tahm bot lane, which it most likely will be at this point, is that, you know, we were talking in the green room, and one of the things which I've really been talking a bit about on other broadcasts is how it feels like no bot lane is undivable anymore. From those, I mean, one of my favorite competitive seasons at the top level of League of Legends was Season 6. We saw so much Ashe Tahm Kench, Ashe Ezreal, and you just, or rather Ezreal Tahm Kench, you just couldn't dive them. That's not the case in Season 11. It's been long removed from that point. Even though it's safe, you go down with a TF, you go down with a Trundle Pillar, a Fellows firing across as well. That is real threat towards the bot lane if Fnatic Rising choose to play towards it, which of course we've called them to do.
Question for me, I guess, initializers. With these two compositions, do you think Trick can take the 2-0? Or do you think Fnatic Rising are coming back?
I think Fnatic Rising have the tools to play towards bot side. Issue is, that's still an Ezreal, that's still a Tahm Kench, even it's been changed. That's quite a hard duo to really punish. And I do like Denvox on that Ezreal. I, though, would like to see my predictions come correct, so I'm going to call it for Fnatic Rising, because I've not been wrong yet. So, you know, I feel the 2-1 coming, just in my favour.
Well, no, 2-0. Trick taking all the way. But potentially the last time of the night, depending on the result of this one, we're going to hand over to our amazing casters, Hiprain and Orcs. Take it away.
Don't let him be right.
Thank you very much, guys. We're getting ready to go into game number 2 of Fnatic Rising versus Tricked, and it's more like Fnatic Rising versus Denvoxney. That guy is super hard to handle, and I'm curious to see if instead this time they do lean towards the bot side, if they do try to shut Denvoxney down on his signature champion. I'm just going to interrupt you, Orcs, you're muted. God damn it, man.
They have TF.
There he is.
Oh man, I thought it'd been weeks. It'd been weeks.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been a while since
okay.
I've done the muted play. I felt like I'd overcome that, and then it's just taking the wind out my sails.
What were you saying? Come on.
I was saying, Deja on the TF allows them to have a really easy option to play towards a bot lane. Ezreal Tahm Kench, obviously typically that safety, but the thing you got to think about before is you had that E readily available to kind of gobble up the Ezreal, get him away from any potential hooks coming out, any stun cards, and that isn't an option anymore. That being said, Maxi's effectiveness on this bot side is a bit limited as they can both kind of circumvent that pillar. But yeah, either way, I think I'm actually kind of positive about what Fnatic Rising have drafted in this game. There's definitely avenues for them to play through, and I hope they are pretty proactive in the early game and lean into that. Pride once again is going for the ignite for that lane pressure. I'm not a huge fan of this, obviously, but he clearly favors it in terms of like negating the all-in pressure for Madly having that ignite.
Well, keep our eyes on top lane again this time, because, you know, Fnatic did play towards it, and ultimately it didn't really do too much. As Fnatic starting up on the top side of the map, which means Maxi will be working his way downwards. And remember, with Tahm Kench now, it is at level 6 when you get the gobble. So Denvoxney, somewhat easier to gank. It is still an Ezreal though, so it's still pretty hard to deal with him.
I think that's the thing though, like, Fnatic gonna have Pride on this bot lane. I think Aphelios is really comfortable in the Ezreal early laning phase. And I want to see them look to make use of that priority. We are seeing Maxi starting on the top side, so pathing down towards there. And I want to see them looking to establish that early agency and challenging Trick as soon as possible. Because I think if they get a lead for Bean, If they get Deja in a position where he's able to make an impact on the map, then they should be in a comfortable spot.
Well, first the lane, already going to get that prio, so Tricked probably just going to try and concede the spot lane as much as possible. The Calibrum giving that extra range and that bit of extra sniping. Mid side, you can already see Paulson actually kind of leaning in pretty deep in this lane, trading heavily with Deja, but Deja not really under any real threat right now. It is only a very early stages rise.
Kind of wait for that level 3 point for the rise to really start the combo. And the W level 1 is it helps you get mana flow stacks pretty easily and go for like a W auto trade. But yeah, so we have that bot lane to play through, and I think something to talk about is how the dynamic of team fights is a little bit different in this one. I think a big thing is that we look at the front line for Fnatic Rising, and it kind of just outclasses Trick because you have the Mundo will be mega tanky, you'll have the Trundle who's not only really tanky but also steals away stats from the enemy team, and I think as a result it's going to be quite tricky for them to even challenge in a front to back. And then on the back of that, you know, you have Bean who's going to be doing tons of damage. All the threats to him are short range. Yes, the Roxney is a bit longer range, but he shouldn't really be the one who's dealing with Bean. He should be, you know, a bit further back. And I think as a result, we should see Fnatic in a more comfortable position in the late game team fights, because you could see last game they definitely struggled with it.
Yeah, they really did. Now, I'm just keeping an eye on where the junglers are. Both of them are doing their crabs, so not actually going to be contesting each other. They started on the opposite side of the maps, and you know, I think for the Trundle, as much as he like to early skirmish, quite happy not to have a Lee Sin in the area. And there's a large wave crashing in, and Deja's on his way down. Maxi spotted out by the ward, but Tricked have to be oh so careful here. They're bringing the teleport in. The Abyssal Voyage is going to land a two-man knock up the Lantern onto Deja, but the Flay comes down. Paulson flashes forward, looks for the lockdown onto Rux. Nobody dies. Paulson burns Flash, Ignite burnt by Lucky, and Deja burns Flash as well.
Yeah, Deja made the wrong decision there. I've actually thrown the stun card. No reason to do so there. You see the TP, you know the dive's coming. You back off and you move back towards mid. You're fine with just burning the TP in that situation. It is a trade of flashes, but still didn't really need to happen. But I like the play from Fnatic. They set that one up. They force a TP to respond to it to defend their bot lane. They then take the opportunity to reset and get back on the map. So the sort of proactivity you want to see, and if a repeat of that comes, can be even more punishing.
Well, I think the big thing about that is now is Deja's level 4. So, you know, we're very close towards that Destiny coming in. And once that Destiny comes in, it's going to have to be madly to answer with his teleport. Otherwise, bot lane are going to be in for a bit of trouble. Obviously, Lucky will be closing in on that level 6 mark himself, but he will be a bit slower to the punch. So if Deja's quick enough, they can actually make a snappy engage happen in the bot lane and look to try and kind of repeat gank down there.
Yeah, we see Maxi head to his top side to clear that up. He now has no reason to be there for the foreseeable future, so he can play down on this bot side once again, and they can look to capitalize on this. And this is the mid to bot pressure that we were hoping to see from this game, and definitely look to challenge now. Actually, they can find Taxa here.
Yeah, they can. They've got him with the hook. They've got the gold card. He tries to jump out. They're bringing the teleport in. A great pillar means that Lucky, maybe not feeling quite so lucky. The infected Bonesaw hits. The Flay comes down. And Maxi secures first blood. But Tricked have brought members up, and it looks like that's going to be all she wrote here.
Yep, they bring more numbers, and also just the CC setup in this situation. Brooks and Deja have that lockdown that's very hard to play around, and then Maxi can just get up in your face, throw the pillar down, bite you, and very easy to capitalize on. So a good play from Fnatic Rising, gets them that kill on the Trundle, a little bit of an advantage there. And we see a wave being stacked up on the bot side. Deja, a little bit low on mana, but does have potions and now has hit that level 6, so we could see them look to capitalize on this. So I think for the time being, they're just going to start up the dragon. They know that Denvoxney has to clear this wave, so there's no chance of Trick's bot lane offering any assistance to contest this.
To me, it's an interesting one, because that could have been a massive denial from Denvoxney if they'd made that roam happen. But they are going to go for the dragon either way. Maxi pretty low here, does have that smite, so he should be a-okay. But down goes the dragon, and Cloud Dragon means that, you know, they do get the Destiny off a little bit more commonly.
Yeah, I mean, Sword of Destiny definitely not going to complain, but I think the reason they don't go for that play is just the threat of Madley's TP coming in, and also, you know, that first initial play was when Tahm Kench was level 2. There was a lot of threat. Now he's past level 3. He has his shield on his E. He's a bit of a harder to take down, target to take down. Then Voxney has summoners. I think this is probably a little bit too risky, and I like the decision to go for the dragon. It's a bit more for consistent play. You're less
Yeah,
likely to sort of lose off it.
I actually did not notice that Pride didn't have TP either, so that completely makes sense to me now at this point where Pride, you know, wouldn't be able to match Madly, and Madly can come in without level 6 available, so understandable play there by Fnatic, picking up the Dragon. It was an early one as well, so could be working towards a potential early soul, while Taxa steals away the blue buff and upgrades his smite. That was a 900 damage with that bad boy, and that's going to be a bit of a denial from Dejour.
Yeah, and it's actually really important because TF having infinite mana on the blue buff essentially means you can just endlessly shove in waves, and then as a result, it means he's able to rotate more clearly, more easily. If you can just throw red cards, throw wild cards at the wave, it opens up his options in terms of using his ult. Because the thing as well is you got to think about his ult is actually quite mana expensive. So if you do get yourself quite low, you might be limited in the effectiveness you have when you actually do ult down. So removing that blue does make a big difference. You can then secure Polston's blue for him. And now you're in a comfortable position where you're mitigating the impact of that TF. And all it took was a quick little invade.
Just get a little bit of damage off of Demvoxney. That's a lot of damage actually out from Bean. Has got the chakrams to work with as well.
And it's been, again, it feels like these teams aren't super fast paced when it comes to the early game. It's definitely just like establishing advantages. We see Fnatic once again looking to secure those neutrals, looking for this top side Herald. We've already seen Rux throw him up. We've seen Dejour in position to assist as well. You have pings coming out, so maybe Trick try and contest this, but I think they'll be a little bit too late on it.
Yeah, Taxa will spot it out. Has got that kick. He might be feeling this, you know. The smite was used. It was a little bit early from Maxi, but it does go down. He's got a lantern. They're going to be A-okay. Fnatic able to move away from this one. And this time, what I would like to see is a bit of a different play. As Dejour gets insect, he gets taken out. It's nothing you can do about that as Polson will pick him up.
Yep, really nice realm will play, honestly, there from Trick. There's very little he can do in that situation. No flash available. I guess the only thing he maybe could have done is as soon as he saw the realm warp is try to ult away, but I don't think you had time to react in all honesty. And that means they can lean this pressure down towards bot lane. We do see Fnatic trying to defend, but again, well, actually, TB coming in. They are looking for this.
Yeah, they are looking for the fight, but Bean on the other side of the wall may have some problems actually joining this as Dejour's come in, pops the map for the moment. He goes in for the Abyssal Voyage, and there's the gold card. Taxa locked down, but they might just look for the kill onto Dejour. Takes himself out. The True Shot Barrage hits a couple of members, but that is going to be it for the moment. They got the flank teleport coming in. The Moonlight Visual doesn't quite hit the gold card onto Madly. Gets the Cyclone off. They can't even get the gold card off in time. Somehow Bean's able to take him down, but Dejour burning low and tricked. Fighting the kill, going 1-for-1 versus Fnatic Rising, but Fnatic, honestly, a bit of a fumbled execution on that entire sequence.
But it's fine, honestly. As much as execution may have been a little bit whiff, the end result is still good for Fnatic Rising. They burn the TP from the Wukong, and Pride gets so much alone time in the top lane. 3 plates down on that tower, and actually been looking for Demvoxney.
I mean, he's got the murder guns, and Demvoxney eating those chakrams, the flash forward, and that's a solo kill. There it is.
The Felios things. I mean, realistically, the Ezreal struggles to step up. You want to play a range against your Felios, and Demvoxney just a little bit disrespectful there. And with that, it's now a 2-for-1 in favor of Fnatic Rising. And they also got all those plates onto Pride, so a pretty significant gold lead they can't complain about. Now, we'll see that replay in. It's a little bit of a staggered engage from Fnatic Rising. They're a little bit slow to the punch. They try to go on Taxa first, but it's very hard when the Lee Sin's mobile. Andy has Lucky here with the eat, but the big critical thing here is that we see Madly TP in at a super low amount of HP. And Dejour holds the gold card because he's not sure if it's a clone or not, but they blow him up because he's low. They're able to take him out, and then things do get a little bit messy here, but it's a 2-for-1 flash trade from Demvoxney and Polson. Dejour still gets away, so Fnatic happy with that one. And then we also see this follow-up, and yeah, I mean, with these guns, nothing really Demvoxney can do. And again, he has no flash because he just used it in that previous fight. Bean knows this and knows he can make that play.
Well, 11 minutes in, Fnatic have got themselves a gold lead. It's not overly substantial, but with this Rift Herald in the pocket of Maxi, it could just grow here. I really want to see them inject the gold into Bean. He's already got 2 kills. He's already got a 1,000 gold lead over Demvoxney.
Yeah. And top lane as well, because Pride got those plates, he's 1,000 gold up.
Yeah.
So pretty comfortable. We do see a bit of an advantage for Polson with that CS lead in mid. And we do see Taxa marginally ahead of Maxi. But overall, Fnatic pretty comfortable. Do you see the Dragon vision being contested there by Taxa? I think Fnatic trying to crash this wave bot and potentially force for some more. They do have the Herald to use if they need, and there's timing out, so I think they'll just throw that down. They won't get the tower here, but they will get 2 plates and put it low.
Yeah, Bean's going to stay in range as well. He's got the Lantern to make sure he's safely out. Plate's gifted over to Bean and Maxi, and Deja has to be a little bit careful with the fact that Taxa's in the area. Fnatic may just look to try and convert what they've been able to gain for themselves here across the map onto their second dragon, but not before they look for a pick. Taxa able to dodge away on the hook. Looks like Tricked just going to have to concede this dragon. All right, let's talk win-cons, because I don't think we've done too much of that so far. You know, current win-cons anyway. What is Tricked's game plan right now? Because this game is slipping a little bit. It's not completely gone, but it is starting to slip in favor of Fnatic Rising.
So I think Tricked kind of benefit a bit more from finding backline access with things like the Wukong, being able to catch people out and find his numbers advantage. Honestly, in 5v5s, it's actually pretty tricky, just because of the fact that, you know, we have Aphelios who does so much damage to short-range targets, and a lot of them are short-range. I think if they can find an avenue to kite back, they may be favorable when it comes to fights. But in terms of establishing gold leads before that, I think finding opportunities to have numbers advantage on the map, doing plays like this where they lean into the top side, looking to challenge and potentially threaten, you know, dives, is the avenue you want to pursue. I think even though it's early days, a straight 5v5 might be tricky unless you get like a beautiful engage from Madly, and that's why I kind of favor Fnatic Rising on the back of their team composition.
Yeah. Well, no dragon spawning up for a little while. It is our first Infernal Soul of today's games. We've had a lot of Cloud Drakes. Our first series was all Cloud Drakes as the Soul, 3 in a row. I think Jamada gave us a stat, and Cloud Soul is the most common Soul at the moment in the game. I know it's complete chance. It's a 1 in 4 chance. But
I think no, those were the numbers for the... I'm pretty sure there were numbers for NALCS. Because I remember Zale was like querying it on Twitter, and they posted the numbers, and it was like there was like 30 extra Cloud Souls compared to everything else. Like Cloud Soul was like 80, everything else was 50.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the thing is, you have to think like it's not necessarily pure chance, because I guess to some degree, like teams will prioritize dragons based on. Ooh.
Oh, hello, they get the kick. Bean gets the heal off thanks to the Moonlight Vigil, but gobbled up, spat back out, taken down. There's the shutdown for Lucky.
We want to be Pulson
down the middle of everyone, going to lose his own life. Fnatic kind of just gifted a freebie on the back of that as Taxa jumps in, he jumps back out. Pride on the flank, got that maximum dosage, so if they want to continue this, they can go for the dive. Trying to see if they can handle the wave, but I don't think they can, and Pride just continues to land Bonesaw after Bonesaw. Teleport and Monkey incoming in 9 seconds time, but they are just going to jump in. The maximum dosage from Pride's pretty big as the Abyssal Voyage is interrupted. Lucky flashes away. The Lantern shielding coming in, followed up by the gold card. Demboxney takes out Deja. Maxi takes out the tower, but the Monkey may just come in. He's joined in with a double kill, already been picked up. Rox jumps in. There's going to be one answered back out by Madly. He has not got the Cyclone, and he can't deal with the spell shield, but he can't deal with Fnatic at all. He's slowly but surely cooking Madly. Can he make the escape? He's burning down. The Realm Warp comes in, and the fight isn't done. Paulson now looking for Maxi, trying to bounce around, gets the overload, gets the lockdown, gets the Everfrost. No, he doesn't. The cleaver from Pride will save his life, and Fnatic somehow get out of that one. That was messy.
I like how we have these champions. We have like the Aphelios, the 200 years, you know. We have these modern champions, so they're sort of all their sort of whistles and bells and everything. And the end of that fight was just Trundle and Mundo just bashing people over the head. It works. It works. Why not? In those extended mid-game skirmishes, the tankier champions, they can get so many damage rotations off. And they're just too hard to cut through right now. Those two are too bulky, and we'll see that in this one. You know, Bean actually does a really good job here, using the ult from his Severum to keep alive for a bit longer. Buys time for his team. You can see he's nearly going down instantly. But it forces also Lucky eats him to take him down. And that's important because it means he doesn't have that available later. Paulson, there's no help to come from him. He's flashless. And then they go for the re-engage, and here we see the Stone Card and Denvoxney, but no Eat from Lucky means he ends up suffering a fair bit of damage. And this is a bit of a mistake from Deja. He gets tower aggro when really the call you can see for Maxi is just kill the tower. And then again, it's just Maxi and his Pride, and they're too tanky, and they're just constantly hitting people again and again and again and again. And it's what found the value in this fight.
Yeah, it's bunking away. It was an interesting team fight. I'm glad that Maxi decided to finish up the tower. During the replay, we saw the mid lane tower fall, and they actually got a charge out from the Herald, a full charge onto the Herald, onto the next towers. Madley's in a good flanking position. He's out in a fog of war, and they've got good vision. Maxi heavily chunked out.
Yeah, they really want flanks in this situation because Thresh Trundle's so good at just disrupting and peeling. You see this coming in. This is a bit of a risky one.
Oh, that's a very risky one. Hook onto the Catfish, able to keep himself alive for the moment. Has got that shield to work with. Here's the Moonlight Vigil. The Infernum spreads the hook. It's a little bit too wide, and Tricked pretty heavily chunked out now. I think they're going to have to give over this third dragon to Fnatic, and this is pretty much the situation they put Fnatic in the last game. Getting to that third dragon nice and early means that Tricked have to contest the next few.
Yeah, and it's so hard, I feel like, to find a route in for Tricked. Like, we saw the sort of Realm Walk engage, but Wukong wasn't there, and then the Lantern just completely shut down the play attempt. I think this is kind of showing how broken Thresh can be, because you go for those aggressive engages. It's like, okay, Lantern, you're safe. You know, any other support champion, and Bean has to flash there at minimum, if not just dying. And Rock's just doing a beautiful job of keeping his AD carry safe consistently in this game and allowing him to flourish. And for Tricked, it's starting to feel a bit desperate. It's starting to feel like that Fnatic feeling where, you know, in the team fight, you're getting outmatched. You have Infernal Soul coming up in the next 4 minutes. It's looking like you don't necessarily have a great avenue. I will say, though, Paulson is pretty fed on this rise. Deja has been falling behind, so yeah, potentially still an avenue just to outvalue in terms of that. If Paulson gets like a big spread Essence Flux, we could see a team fight go in their favor.
I think the big thing for me, though, as well, is this time Denvoxney is not fed. Last time it was Paulson and Denvoxney, and that you could lean on them reliably. Denvoxney not fed compared to someone like Bean. Bean's going to be able to offer way more for the team. And in the last game, when it got close, when it got to this kind of situation for Fnatic, they'd actually taken a fair few towers, and they had that backdoor option. You're not going to be able to roam warp into the base. 0 turrets have fallen right now, so Fnatic definitely doing a much better job this game, and Tricked not really getting the same kind of read on the map that Fnatic had in the game prior.
Yeah, and I think they're at that point. They are trying to look for these plays where they have the numbers advantage, which I think is the right call. What comes down for TP, they need to proc. There's the passive gone. It's now up to Taxa to get in range and kick.
Yeah, he's going in for the kick, for the Cyclone. He misses the Q. The maximum dosage has just been burnt, but Pride only going to go so far. Knocked up by the Abyssal Voyage. He's burning low. The Everfrost is there, and the shutdown gifted over to Paulson, crucially. A lot more gold injected into your Rise. But the answer on the other side of the map is Fnatic just sending 2 top lane, and they should be able to do almost the entire turret's health bar, if not the entire turret.
Yeah, they do it so fast. Trundle with Divine Thunder is a tower-taking machine. And just look at those bites coming in. Oh. And that's a big chunk of extra gold going in their pocket. They try to look for an engaged mid, but again, Thresh, OP. That's that's the basic message of this one.
But like, again, they got a pick. Great. But what do they actually get with that?
Nothing.
The amount of gold trade is up in Fnatic's favor because they took that tier 2. They got a lot of additional gold. Yeah, there was a shutdown given over to Paulson. Great, but they didn't take a tower. They haven't really given themselves any breathing room on the map and in the game state. It was just a single kill, and it cost them, 4 members to go down into that bot lane to kill the Mundo. Now, if they can do that onto Maxi, funnel some shutdown into either Denvoxney or Paulson again, great. They have to translate it into something. They got 2 minutes until this dragon's coming up, and if they can find a pick like that, a minute, 40 seconds before the dragon comes up, first of all, that's a bit of a Fnatic misstep, but second of all, will give Trick that breathing room they want to work with.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing as well, is burning summoners is critical. If you could do that to Deja and Bean. If you can go for a play now, you go for the aggressive play, you burn Bean's flash, your cooldown's reset before the dragon's up and available, it makes your chance of succeeding significantly higher. If we just go into this dragon with full summoners on the side of Fnatic, it favors them even more. Because imagine Madly, right? Madly dives in, goes for the Cyclone, Bean flashes out.
Yeah.
Okay, your engage has failed. Bean is now just shredding your team, and your whole plan has fallen apart. You need to try and find a way to burn these summoners. I don't even care if Madly went in, dies, but gets Bean's flash like a minute and a half, 2 minutes before the dragon. It actually give them a favorable situation, because the problem is now is they took down Pride, but as you said, they got nothing for it. We're now facing Infernal Soul in a minute. It's a little bit too late to go for a play like that, and I don't think they win a 5v5.
No, I agree with you on that one. They're going for their final recalls before this comes up. You can see the stopwatches, the anti-healing starting to come in for the side of Trick. But then Voxney actually not fully stacked his Mirror Mana either, so he's kind of on like 1.5 item, 1 3/4 item right now. So they are looking to try and find Dejor, but he's able to jump away. And Pride has been spotted out on the vision, but Tricked have not set themselves up particularly great vision right now to contest this dragon. If you look at the vision that Fnatic have in the river area, it's completely lit up for them. They know where people are. They know where they're safe. Madly's going to struggle to find himself a flanking position here.
What I will say, though, is Voxney spiking hard. You know, typically with like an extra item on Beam before he's at his prime point. 2 items for Voxney. His Mirror Mana should be stacked in a second. And the Infernal Soul doesn't make it a bit easier to push in just because of the less terrain available. The fight's kicking off.
Yeah, they've got the box. They've got all the damage necessary to find Lucky. The Realm Warp comes in, and it's just Madly onto the flank. He's trying to find an opportunity to kill someone, but he can't do so because he's taken down. Paulson's shoving some damage out on Max. He's going pretty low. Dejor teleports into the backline, gets the gold card off. Then Voxy's untouched. Paulson bouncing the damage around, but Rux comes in, and Paulson will fall. Fnatic rising. Absolutely wiped Trick from the map.
They crushed them, and really you saw the desperation from Trick trying to find that engage angle with the Realm Warp, but it was just beautiful peel from Fnatic Rising, and this is really the strength of this composition. You have Trundle, you have Twisted Fate, you have Thresh, and they're all doing such a good job of keeping Bean safe, so you can just absolutely massacre. Now the play is Tax to go in for a steal. It's already Infernal Soul for Fnatic Rising. If they get Baron, it's going to feel pretty bad, but interruption has been run. Look at that cleaver damage with the Infernal Soul.
Oh, it's actually painful. They're teleporting in, but Baron's already too low. Taxa is going to have to be a bloody miracle for him to get even remotely close enough as the hook connects, and Lantern's brought in. Maxi gonna be able to pop away. I've got a bit of damage actually, forcing the stopwatch out, but Dejor really coming in. The true shot. Barrage will shut him down, but Trick's health bars are still too low. Can they get more? I don't think so. A double kill has already been picked up. Lucky slowed down, and he will be next as he Abyssal Voyages, swims to safety. The lockdown has happened onto Voxney, and he's able to blink away to safety. Bean is trying to get a little bit extra off, able to do so. And this time, you shut Voxney down. This time, you find yourself your win condition.
I mean, they just absolutely saw that fight. The fact that they take the first fight, they don't reset, they don't spend, and they win another fight back to back is pretty crazy. We can look at how this fight plays out. So the goal is to get on Bean and shut him down. Fnatic start off by just eliminating Lucky. He doesn't get to do anything. And then the Realm Up comes in for an inventive engage, but Rux is running interruption. The ult from Dejor spots the Wukong out, the real one, and then he's able to stone cold him. But now the engage, the backline threat is gone. So Bean just charges forwards with the rest of his team and is able to clean them up really well. And then this fight, I mean, it's just a steal attempt, that kind of desperate play to just, let's try and take the Baron off them. The problem is Trick just are in no position to win this fight. They try to take out Dejor there. They do eventually get him, but Bean is still unchecked consistently. Then Voxney can't get in range, and everyone else is so short range that he just massacres them.
25 minutes on the clock. Fnatic with Soul and Baron versus Trick 2.
And a 9k gold lead.
I just don't know how the hell Trick can get into this game. You can see Siege has started up.
You know, they have 0 towers as well, so they can't even do like a backdoor Realm War play.
I mean, look at, oh no. Lucky has to get the gobble off onto Voxney. He's heavily chunked out. Moonlight Vigil comes in. Hook there as well. Voxney almost chunked out, and Pride just needs one more cleaver. This game has just gone from bad to worse here. Paulson, I mean, maybe if he had Soul, that would have been enough, but he doesn't. Inhibitor's going to fall. They've got a couple of minions to work with, and Pride can tank it. This is going to be game number 2 for Fnatic. We're going to game number 3. Always going all the way, baby. Fnatic Rising take game number 2.
And honestly, it looked even more dominant than game 1, I'll say. It just felt like Tricked didn't have any options, and I think Fnatic came in with a stronger draft. I think having the Aphelios Thresh Trundle TF was just insufferable. And the problem is, if you have a short-range comp in that Aphelios, if your game plan and if your win condition is to dive into them, and the only dive is the Wukong, it's going to be a bad time. I don't rate the Ezreal Tom into that. I think it's too passive of a lane. And I felt like Tricked, a better game 1 where it felt like they were a bit more proactive and able to find those good angles and fight. This one kind of felt like they just rolled over and died. So hopefully we see them bounce back in game 3.
I mean, this is actually what the desk hit on as well. It doesn't matter if you got a Tahm Kench and an Ezreal. It's genuinely possible to dive you now. This is how the meta is, and this is how the game's played. Beautiful stuff from Fnatic, able to pull that back. And so far, playoffs have gone all of the way every game so far. But we are going to throw to a break. And when we're back, we'll have the analyst desk talk a little bit more about that game. So we'll see you in a moment.